Why does liberalism not always work? So the answer for assessment for question 11 would be all of the above. Liberalism does not always work due to the following reason. At times, military force is the only way to avoid the spread of bad influences. Other countries are not willing to cooperate, and the free trade market can negatively affect high wage and low wage countries. All right. For instance, here. So you have here the free trade market. Remember that liberalism believes in trade, promoting peace, right? Will ultimately bring peace, and it's all a win-win situation, right? Yes, no, what's good for one hand might not be good for the other hand, right? And I'm going to give you the negative effect, right? So we have here, let's say, a big corporation here in the United States producing cell phones, right? The same cell phone to get produced here in the United States, right? Compare it to the same cell phone getting produced in China, right? There would be what's called the surplus difference there, right? So we would have to sell the USA produced cell phone $2,000, whereas if we have the same cell phone, the same product, same capabilities and everything, right? But if we produce it in China, we would only pay $200, $300. All right. So then this is where the free trade market begins to negatively affect because you are exporting labor, employment rates. They're going they're not growing, all right, because you're extracting all the employment opportunities to these low wage countries, right? So that's one way free trade market can negatively affect everyone, right? The high wage countries, all right. Now, how can free trade market affect the low wage, negatively affect low wage countries? Well, for some reason, nations will feel that, oh wow, these superpowers are coming in and taking over these big corporates, these private enterprises. They're coming in and they're taking over, right? So there is a sense of of conquer perspective, emotions there of being conquered, right? And they feel like the superpowers will only do um, will it will only benefit from this, but that's not entirely true. Everything is a win-win situation. We provide them with the jobs, their economy grows, and then we get the we'll say the low-cost production advantages there. All right. So now other countries are not willing to participate. And so here liberalism will not work because you do have countries out there that do feel like the superpowers are very demanding, very controlling, and they just want to maintain their sovereignty, right? So North Korea, they don't want anything to do with the United States. Great example. All right. So and then next we have military forces, the only way to avoid the spread of bad influences, right? So being a liberalist can be what I feel a double-ended sword, right? They're all about, first sitting down, trying to come up with an agreement, negotiations, signing peace treaties and things like that, but they are not oblivious to using power, right? So they will use military force if they have to go ahead and protect, we'll say, democracy, all right? Or human rights and things like that they strongly believe in. Um, for example, Adolf Hitler, dictatorship, right? A liberalist will go ahead and be in favor of attacking Hitler because he was a dictator, he was a bad influence, um, and he was very hostile. So liberalism does not always result to warfare, but they will result to warfare for the good of the country, for the good of the better half, or their perspective of the better half there. And these are some of the reasons why liberalism does not always work. Hey, you talk all about peace treaties, but and but then like you go ahead and you conquer whenever you feel just, and then other countries are not willing to debate with the liberalists. And the free trade market does have its ups and downs. Okay, so these are a few key concepts that realists criticize liberals. All right, not only the realists, you have constructivists and socialists that do criticize liberalists too.